Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again for a short and sweet idea towards Parashat Eikev we have this week. As far as all the 613 mitzvot are concerned, some are only for Kohanim, and some are only for men, and some are only for women, and some. But there is a short list of mitzvot that is for everybody, every day of our life, wherever we live. And out of that short list of mitzvot, two of them in this week's parasha, we talk about fearing God, Yu'at Hashem, and loving God, Ahavat Hashem. And the pasuk says quite clearly the following: V'ata Yisrael, and now, O Israel, Ma Hashem Elokecha sho'el mi'imach. What does the Lord your God demand of you? Ki im liyira et Hashem Elokecha, only this, to revere the Lord your God, lalechet b'chol derachav, to walk only in His paths, la'ahava oto, to love Him, ula'avod et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha, and to serve the Lord with all your heart and soul, lishmor et mitzvot Hashem, keeping the Lord's commandments and laws, which I enjoin upon you today for your good. Very interesting to see the Ramban, Nachmanides, in the 13th century, who says it is all towards the last two words, letovlach. He is doing it for our good. He's giving us these instructions for our good. Why are they for our good? Simple reason. He is the creator of the world. He knows how to use the world best. He made the human being and has given his instructions of how to use the world best only to a certain small group of people, to the Jewish people. If we use the world the best way as the user manual tells us, the Torah is actually the user manual of the creator. So it's letovlach. So we'll get the best out of this world, out of the next world. Letovlach. That's the direction that Nachmanides takes. The Or Chaim goes into an interesting direction and tells us that actually in this pasuk, as we saw, first of all comes the fear of God, to revere God, to Yu'at Shamayim, and only stage two comes to love God. And that is an important point, also brought down in Maimonides, Rambam, in Hilchot Shuvah. He brings down the fact that first we have to have Yu'at Shamayim. First we have to fear God. Only out of the fear can we develop a relationship with Hashem and love Him. Why? Because fear is an external motivator. You're going to get punished, or you're going to lose out on a certain reward. These are reward and punishment are both external motivators. Love is an internal motivator. To develop an internal motivator takes time. I'm sure you as parents have noticed with teenagers, when they're very young, you ask them to do something and they'll get a sweet, to do something, they'll get a bicycle, to do something and they'll get something in return. At a certain age, in their teens, or maybe earlier, halavai, you ask them to do something and they stop saying, what will I get for it? They stop saying that. Why? Because they understand you are their father, you are their mother. If I do what mom and dad tells me to do, only good things can come out of it. If we do the right thing, only good things can be the outcome of doing the right things. We're not doing it in order to get the sweets or the bicycle. We're doing it because we understand the importance of the relationship with Hashem. But in order to get to that point, we have to go through a first stage, which is the fear, which is Yu'at Shamayim. And it is interesting to see that we have the pasuk, a well-known pasuk, Sur merav aseto. We have to refrain from bad and only then do good. And refraining from bad and then doing good. Why do we refrain from bad? Because we're afraid. Because of yu'ah. Because we fear doing bad. And then aseto, stage two, is to do good. Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, in the 18th century, wrote Mesilat Yesharim. First chapter is Zehirut, how to be careful. And only stage two is Zrizut, how to do things quickly. If you do things quickly but you're not careful, it's not worth anything. We have to first be careful and then do things quickly. And since I deal mainly with teenagers, high school years, usually during the years that they're learning to be drivers. So the obvious example is that they first have to learn about all the warning signs and all the signposts on the way. Here's no entry and here you have to stop. And what only after we know that they understand all the signs, only then do we give them a license that they can actually get into the car and start driving. You can only shift into gear if you know the limits. That means love is something very important, very, very important, but we have to know the limits of love. And therefore, we have to run. The ideal is to run our life through love. But love without limits is very dangerous. And therefore, first we learn the limits, and only then we pour into this vessel that was created out of the fear, out of the Yirat Shamayim. We pour into it the love, and the love knows its boundaries, and then we can prosper. That is what we teach in all our yeshivot and ulpanot of Bnei Akiva, and that is the way that not only the Ramchal, the Rambam, the Ramban, but that is actually the way the pasuk in our parsha tells us to live. Shabbat Shalom.